Have you ever noticed that even when you work hard, money seems to slip through your fingers like water? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to prosper financially with ease, while others constantly struggle to make ends meet? The secret might be closer than you think, inside your own home. You know that place where you keep your savings, that safe spot where you put the money left over at the end of the month? What if I told you that that place might be blocking all your financial prosperity? This might seem strange at first, but there's an ancient wisdom affirmed by spiritual leaders like Pope John Paul II that reveals how the energy of the places in our home directly affects our ability to attract and keep wealth. Just imagine, John, a dedicated worker from Chicago, struggled to balance his finances for years. He worked overtime, saved where he could, but still money always seemed insufficient. Until one day he discovered this secret about the places where he kept his money. After making a simple change in just 3 months, his financial situation began to improve dramatically. Coincidence? Absolutely not. What you're about to discover has the power to completely transform your relationship with money. We're not talking about complex investments or working harder. We're talking about something much simpler and deeper. The energy that surrounds your money inside your own home. Are you ready to discover the 7 places in your house that might be sabotaging your financial prosperity? Keep watching, because what I'm about to reveal has changed the lives of thousands of people, and it can change yours too. Before we reveal these places blocking your prosperity, you might be wondering, where does this wisdom come from? Why should I believe this? This isn't a new theory or a baseless superstition. Pope John Paul II himself, in his lesser-known teachings, spoke about the importance of energy in our homes. He taught that every space in our home possesses its own energy, and this energy influences all aspects of our life, including our finances. This wisdom, though not frequently discussed in conventional financial circles, has deep roots in the spiritual traditions of various cultures. Pope John Paul II understood that our relationship with money goes far beyond numbers and calculations. It's also a spiritual and energetic matter. He taught that the environment in which we keep our money can create an energetic field of abundance or scarcity. In 1998, during a visit to families facing financial difficulties in Latin America, the Pope shared these profound reflections on how the arrangement of objects and the energy of spaces in our homes can impact our prosperity. Many of the families who followed this advice reported significant changes in their financial situation. Mary, a single mother of 3 from Miami, was on the verge of bankruptcy when she heard about these teachings. Initially skeptical, she decided to try it because she had nothing to lose. After changing the places where she kept her money, she noticed that opportunities began to arise out of nowhere. Within 6 months, she was able not only to balance her finances, but also to start saving. These aren't isolated stories or coincidences. They're patterns that repeat themselves among people who apply these principles in their lives. The energy of your home isn't something abstract. It's a real force that influences your ability to attract and keep prosperity. What I'm going to share with you today are teachings that have helped thousands of people transform their financial reality simply by changing where and how they keep their money. If you're ready to open your mind and your heart to this wisdom, keep watching. If you're enjoying this content and want to transform your relationship with money, don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Also, share this video with someone who needs to improve their financial situation. Together, we can spread this wisdom that has the power to change lives. First place to avoid: under the mattress. Let's begin our journey with one of the most common and surprisingly one of the most harmful places to keep money: under the mattress. This practice, so traditional in many families, carries a powerful symbolism that Pope John Paul II warned was extremely negative for our prosperity. When you put money under the mattress, you're literally sleeping on your finances. The Pope explained that money as energy needs to circulate to grow. Under the mattress, it becomes stagnant, compressed, and without the possibility of breathing energetically. Think about it. The mattress is a place of rest, of dreams, of renewal. When we introduce the energy of money, which is linked to work, effort, and materiality, into this space, we create an energetic conflict. It's like mixing water and oil. It simply doesn't work well. An impressive story comes from Charles, a small business owner from Denver. For years, he kept his savings under the mattress, believing it to be the safest place. Interestingly, during this same period, he suffered from severe insomnia, and his company faced constant financial difficulties. After learning these teachings, Charles transferred his savings to a more appropriate location. In the first few weeks, I started to sleep better, he reports, and after 3 months, my company began to stabilize in a way that had never happened before. Pope John Paul II explained this phenomenon in a simple way. When we sleep on money, our subconscious absorbs the worry about material things, preventing the true rest of the soul. This restlessness manifests not only in sleep problems, but also in constant financial anxiety. Furthermore, there's the symbolism of weight. By putting money under the mattress, you're metaphorically putting a weight on yourself, the weight of financial worries. This symbolic weight can manifest as a constant feeling that money is heavy, making money is hard, or finances are a burden. Mrs. Johnson, a 78-year-old woman from Atlanta, kept her savings under the mattress for over 40 years. She always said that life was a struggle and that money doesn't come easy. When her granddaughter explained about the energy of places, she reluctantly moved her savings to a small wooden box in the closet. To her surprise, in the following weeks, she began to receive small, unexpected amounts, a forgotten rebate check, an increase in Social Security benefits she didn't know she was entitled to, gifts from relatives. "It seems like the universe finally remembered me," she commented emotionally. Pope John Paul II's message is clear. Money, just like us, needs space to grow and multiply. When we put it under the mattress, we're symbolically suffocating its potential, keeping it in a state of compression and stagnation. Second place to avoid. Inside the kitchen cabinet, the second place that Pope John Paul II warned us never to keep money is the kitchen cabinet. This advice may seem strange at first. After all, isn't the kitchen the heart of the home, a place of abundance? Yes, but that's precisely why we shouldn't mix its energy with that of money. The kitchen is a space of constant transformation. It's where food is prepared, cut, heated, mixed, and finally consumed. The Pope explained that the energy of the kitchen is one of rapid transformation and consumption. When we keep money in this environment, we're symbolically programming our finances to be quickly consumed, just like food. Josephine, a shopkeeper from Dallas, had the habit of keeping her market money in a cookie jar in the kitchen cabinet. For years, she observed a curious pattern. No matter how much she sold, the money ran out quickly, as if it evaporated. When a friend told her about these teachings, she transferred the money to a more appropriate location. The difference was remarkable, she says. For the first time in years, I was able to build up a financial reserve. The money stopped melting like before. Pope John Paul II explained that the kitchen is also a place of high humidity and temperature variations, elements that symbolically affect the health of money. Humidity represents instability, while temperature variations symbolize financial ups and downs. Keeping money in this environment is like programming it to be unstable. Another important aspect is the symbolism of fire. The kitchen is dominated by the element of fire, stove, which represents rapid transformation and consumption. Money kept near this element symbolically burns faster. That is, it tends to be spent more easily. Richard, a college professor from Boston, kept his money in a drawer near the stove. He always complained that his salary, which should have been sufficient, ran out long before the end of the month. It was as if the money was on fire, he joked, without knowing how accurate this metaphor was. After changing the location of his savings, Richard noticed that the same salary began to last longer. Pope John Paul II also mentioned that the kitchen is a place of constant giving and receiving. We buy food, prepare it, consume it, and the cycle begins again. When we place money in this environment, we're programming it for that same rapid cycle of entry and exit without accumulation. The energy of the kitchen isn't negative. On the contrary, it's vital and necessary for family nourishment. But just as we don't mix certain foods that, when separated, are healthy, but together can cause discomfort, we shouldn't mix the energy of money with the energy of consumption in the kitchen. If you have the habit of keeping money in jars, cans, or drawers in the kitchen, this is the moment to reconsider. Your money deserves a place where it can rest and grow, far from the rapid consumption energy of the kitchen. If this knowledge is opening your eyes to a new perspective on money and energy, share this video with your friends and family who also deserve prosperity. Subscribe to the channel right now to continue receiving these powerful revelations that can transform your financial life. Remember, applied knowledge is power. Third place to avoid. In the bathroom. The third place in your house where you should never keep money is the bathroom. This advice from Pope John Paul II may seem obvious to some, but you'd be surprised how many people hide money in bathroom cabinets, behind medicine boxes, or even in drawers of hygiene products. The bathroom is an environment with very specific energy. In the wisdom shared by the Pope, the bathroom is a place of elimination, purification, and release. While these functions are essential for our physical well-being, they create an energetic field that's completely opposed to what we want for our finances. Teresa, a nurse from San Diego, had the habit of hiding her savings in a waterproof box inside the bathroom cabinet. For 5 years, she observed that despite her good salary and efforts to save, she never managed to accumulate a significant amount. It was as if the money was literally going down the drain, she says. After discovering these teachings, Teresa moved her savings to a suitable location. In less than a year, she managed to save enough for a down payment on her apartment, something that previously seemed impossible. Pope John Paul II explained that the symbolism of the bathroom is strongly associated with elimination and disposal. When we place money in this environment, we're energetically subjecting it to a continuous process of elimination. It's as if we're sending a subconscious message that this money should be discarded or eliminated from our lives. Furthermore, the bathroom is a place of high humidity. Water, although purifying, can represent instability when associated with finances. Money kept in a humid environment symbolically dissolves, becoming unstable and slippery in terms of financial management. Another important aspect mentioned by the Pope is the issue of privacy. The bathroom is one of the few places in the house where we seek complete privacy. When we associate this energy of hiding or keeping private with money, we can unconsciously create a relationship of secrecy with our finances, which often leads to problems of management and financial transparency. Mark, a small business owner from Austin, kept his company's money in a safe installed in the false bottom of a cabinet in the bathroom. "I thought it was the last place a thief would look," he explains. Interestingly, during this period his company faced several accounting problems, with money that disappeared without explanation and accounts that never balanced correctly. After transferring the safe to his office, the financial problems began to resolve themselves naturally. Pope John Paul II taught us that the energy of places isn't superstition, but a subtle reality that affects our subconscious and, consequently, our actions and results in life. When we put money in an environment whose primary function is to eliminate, we're programming our subconscious to treat our finances as something to be eliminated. Remember, money, like any form of energy, responds to the environment in which it's placed. In the bathroom, a place of disposal and elimination, your finances are subjected to an energy that works against their growth and permanence in your life. Fourth place to avoid, near electronic devices. The fourth place where you should never keep your money, according to the teachings of Pope John Paul II, is near electronic devices. In our digital age, this advice becomes even more relevant and challenging to follow. The Pope explained that electronic devices emit frequencies that interfere not only with our bodies but also with the energy of everything around them, including money. These electromagnetic waves create a field of chaotic and agitated energy, which can negatively affect the energetic stability of money. Paul, a systems analyst from Seattle, used to keep his savings in a drawer of his home office, right next to his computer, router, and various other electronic devices. "My financial life was a roller coaster," he reports. "I earned well, but the money always seemed unstable, going and coming unpredictably." After discovering these teachings, Paul moved his savings away from electronic equipment. In just 2 months, I began to notice a stability that I had never experienced before. Electronic devices, especially those connected to the internet, are constantly emitting and receiving signals. Pope John Paul II explained that this constant activity creates an environment of energetic agitation. When we put money in this type of environment, we're symbolically programming it to be unstable and agitated, increasing the chances of impulsive spending and hasty financial decisions. Furthermore, electronic devices are associated with rapid obsolescence and the constant need for upgrades. When we keep money near these devices, we're unconsciously associating our finances with something that quickly loses value and needs to be replaced, the opposite of the growth and accumulation we desire for our prosperity. Regina, an accountant from Phoenix, observed a curious pattern. She always kept money in the drawer of the desk where her computer was, and coincidentally or not, she always faced financial emergencies that consumed her savings. It was as if the money was programmed to be spent quickly, she says. After changing the location of her savings, the emergencies decreased dramatically, and for the first time, she was able to maintain a stable reserve. Pope John Paul II also warned about the effects of electromagnetic fields on our own vital energy. When we spend too much time exposed to these fields, we can feel fatigue, irritability, and lack of focus, emotional states that don't favor good financial decisions. If our money is stored in this same environment, it absorbs this same dispersive energy. An interesting aspect mentioned by the Pope is the relationship between technology and time. Electronic devices are associated with the acceleration of time with instantaneity. When we place money in this energetic field, we're symbolically accelerating its passage through our life. It tends to be spent more quickly. If you have the habit of keeping money in the nightstand drawer, next to your cell phone, near computers, televisions, routers, or any other electronic device, this is the moment to reconsider. Your money, like you, needs an energetically stable environment to prosper. This knowledge is too powerful to keep to yourself. Share this video with your friends and family who desire financial prosperity. Subscribe now to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any revelation that can transform your relationship with money and open the doors to the abundance you deserve. Fifth place to avoid. In the attic, the fifth place in your house where you should never keep money is the attic. This advice from Pope John Paul II touches on deeply symbolic aspects of our relationship with financial prosperity. The attic, by its nature, is an elevated location, usually difficult to access, where we keep things that we don't use frequently. The Pope explained that when we put money in the attic, we're symbolically putting it out of our reach and use. This elevated location creates an energetic distance between you and your finances, hindering the natural flow of abundance. Anthony, a merchant from Oklahoma City, kept his savings in a box hidden in the attic of his house. "I thought I was being clever, keeping it in a place that no one would think to look," he says. "But interestingly, whenever I needed money, it seemed like obstacles arose. I literally had to climb a ladder, move boxes, and make a significant effort to access my own savings." When Anthony transferred his money to a more accessible location inside the house, he noticed that financial opportunities also became more accessible in his life. Pope John Paul II also warned about another aspect of the attic. It's typically a dusty place, full of forgotten objects and often disorganized. "The energy of abandonment and forgetfulness permeates the attic," he explained. "When we put money in this environment, we're unconsciously programming our finances to be forgotten, neglected." This symbolism manifested clearly in the life of Lucy, a teacher from Minneapolis. She kept a portion of her savings in an old suitcase in the attic, intending to use them for a special trip. Years passed, and the suitcase was forgotten along with its contents. "It was as if that money had completely left my consciousness," she reports. "It was only when I learned about these teachings that I remembered those forgotten savings." Upon recovering the money and placing it in a more appropriate location, Lucy noticed that her financial awareness as a whole improved significantly. Another important aspect of the attic is its association with the past. Pope John Paul II reminded us that the attic is where we keep memories, old objects, things that belong to another time. When we put money in this environment, we're energetically associating our finances with the past, hindering their multiplication in the present and future. Robert, a lawyer from Charleston, had the habit of keeping money in a box in the attic of his house, the same house where he grew up and that he inherited from his parents. "For years, it seemed like my financial situation was stuck in the past," he says. "I earned well, but I could never really advance, always facing the same financial problems as when I was young." After changing the location of his savings, Robert noticed a significant change. "It was as if my money was finally allowed to exist in the present and grow for the future." Pope John Paul II also mentioned the issue of temperature. Attics tend to be places of extreme temperatures, very hot in the summer and cold in the winter. This thermal instability symbolizes financial instability. When we keep money in an environment with these variations, we're programming our finances to fluctuate dramatically. If you have the habit of keeping money in the attic, thinking it's a good hiding place, consider the energetic implications of this choice. Your money deserves a place where it can be easily accessed, respected, and integrated into your present, not relegated to oblivion along with objects from the past. Sixth place to avoid. In the garage, the sixth place in your house where you should never keep money, according to the teachings of Pope John Paul II, is the garage. This advice, although it may seem surprising at first glance, contains a profound wisdom about the energy of money. The garage, by its nature, is a space of transit, a place of passage where things don't remain. Cars come and go, tools are used, and returned objects are stored temporarily. The Pope explained that the energy of the garage is one of constant movement, of impermanence. When we put money in this environment, we're symbolically programming it to be transient in our lives, to come and go quickly without staying. Luis, a driver from San Antonio, had the habit of keeping his savings in a toolbox in the garage. "It was convenient," he explains, "because I spent a lot of time there taking care of my car." Interestingly, for years, Louis observed a pattern in his finances. The money came, but it went away just as quickly. "It was as if my savings had wheels," he jokes. After changing the location of his savings to a closet in the bedroom, Lewis noticed a significant difference. "For the first time, I was able to maintain a stable amount in my account. The money stopped wandering." Pope John Paul II also warned about another aspect of the garage. It's typically a place where we keep objects in maintenance, broken things, items that need repairs. This energy of repair can transfer to your finances, he explained. Your money may seem to be always in maintenance, never working properly. The story of Patricia, a businesswoman from Virginia Beach, illustrates this principle well. She kept the money from her small business in a safe installed in the garage. "For years, I had the feeling that my business was always in repair mode," she says. "Hardly out of one crisis, I would enter another. It was a constant cycle of repairs." When she transferred the safe to her office inside the house, she noticed a gradual stabilization of her business finances. The garage is also associated with fuel, something that is consumed to generate movement. Pope John Paul II explained that keeping money near this energy can cause our finances to be consumed quickly, serving only as fuel that runs out, instead of a resource that multiplies. Charles, a physical education teacher from New Orleans, kept his savings on a shelf in the garage near the fuel cans for his lawnmower. "No matter how hard I tried to save, the money seemed to evaporate," he reports. "It was as if it was destined only to be burned in expenses, never to grow." After transferring his savings to a more appropriate location, Charles finally managed to see his money accumulate instead of dissipate. Another important aspect of the garage is its association with tools and equipment. Pope John Paul II reminded us that in the garage, things are instruments, means to an end, not the end in themselves. When we put money in this environment, we can unconsciously treat it only as an instrument, losing sight of its potential for growth and multiplication. It's also worth remembering that the garage often contains chemicals, oils, and potentially toxic cleaning materials. This energy of toxicity can symbolically contaminate your finances, creating toxic or problematic financial situations. If you have the habit of keeping money in the garage, whether in a toolbox drawer, in a cabinet, or in any other location, this is the moment to reconsider this choice. Your money deserves an environment that symbolizes permanence, growth, and stability. This knowledge has the power to transform your financial life. Share this video with friends and family who desire financial prosperity. Subscribe now to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more revelations that can open the doors to the abundance you deserve. 7th place to avoid: inside the desk drawer. The 7th and last place in your house where you should never keep money, according to the teachings of Pope John Paul II, is in the drawer of your desk or work table. This advice may seem counterintuitive to many, since the desk is often associated with organization and responsibility, but the wisdom behind it is profound. The desk is the place where we work mentally, where we face intellectual challenges, where we often experience stress and pressure to meet deadlines. The Pope explained that the energy of the desk is one of mental effort, tension, and constant work. When we keep money in this environment, we're unconsciously associating our finances with effort, tension, and hard work. Michael, an accountant from Chicago, always kept his money in the center drawer of his desk. "It seemed logical," he says, "since I handled finances there all day." However, Michael noticed a curious pattern in his life. No matter how much I earned, I always felt like I had to work harder and harder to maintain my finances. It was as if the money only came with a lot of effort and suffering. After transferring his savings to a location separate from his workspace, Michael noticed a gradual change. I started to attract financial opportunities that required less effort and brought more satisfaction. It was a subtle but profound transformation. Pope John Paul II also warned about another aspect of the desk. It's often associated with bills, invoices, and financial worries. When we put our money in the same place where we deal with financial problems and worries, he explained, we're energetically connecting our money to problems and worries instead of to solutions and abundance. This connection manifested clearly in the life of Felicia, a lawyer from Atlanta. She kept her savings in the drawer of her desk, along with bills to pay and pending financial documents. It was as if my money was always contaminated by problems, she reports. I constantly faced unexpected expenses, fines, and charges that seemed to arise out of nowhere. When she separated her savings from this environment, Felicia noticed that the financial emergencies began to decrease significantly. The desk is also associated with analytical mental energy, which can be overly critical. Pope John Paul II reminded us that money responds better to trust and gratitude than to excessive analysis and criticism. When we keep money in an environment dominated by analytical thinking, we can create an excessively critical relationship with our finances, always finding problems and never seeing the opportunities. Another important aspect is the association of the desk with papers and documents. Money kept between papers symbolically dilutes, losing its strength and presence in our consciousness. It becomes just another item to be processed, instead of a valuable resource to be cultivated. Julia, a college professor from Denver, kept her savings in a folder in the drawer of her desk, along with tests to grade and articles to review. My money always seemed insufficient, as if it were always under analysis, never ready to be used and enjoyed, she says. After transferring her savings to a small box in the bedroom, Julia noticed a significant change in her relationship with money. I began to see my money as a source of possibilities, not just as another problem to solve. Pope John Paul II reminded us that we must separate the energy of work from the energy of money itself. Working to earn money is natural and necessary, but money itself should be associated with abundance, gratitude, and possibilities, not with stress, analysis, and problems. If you have the habit of keeping money in the drawer of your desk or work table, this is the moment to reconsider. Your money deserves an environment that associates it with prosperity and abundance, not with hard work and worries. Deal places. To keep money now, that you know the 7 places you should avoid keeping your money. It's time to discover where Pope John Paul II recommended that we keep our savings to attract abundance and prosperity. The Pope taught that, just as the seed needs the right soil to germinate and grow, money needs the right energetic environment to multiply. But what are these environments favorable to prosperity? The first and most recommended place is a safe or strong box, well positioned. Pope John Paul II explained that the safe represents security, value, and importance, messages that we want to associate with our money. The safe should be placed in a stable location in the house, ideally in the master bedroom or in an office dedicated exclusively to positive activities, not where you pay bills or solve problems. Renee, a businesswoman from Dallas, implemented this recommendation and noticed a significant change. I bought a small safe and positioned it in my room in a discreet but accessible location. I started keeping my savings there, treating the moment of depositing money as a ritual of gratitude. In less than 6 months, my company began to prosper in a way that had never happened before. The second ideal location is a container made of natural materials, such as ceramic, wood, or stone. The Pope explained that these materials keep the energy of money connected with the earth, promoting stability and organic growth. The container should be beautiful and treated with respect, never used for other purposes. Edward, a doctor from Miami, put this advice into practice. I bought a small, handcrafted wooden box specifically to keep my savings. I placed it on a shelf in my room where I could see it every day. I established the habit of thanking whenever I put money in it. It was surprising how, in a few months, I began to receive offers for much more advantageous work. The third place, recommended by Pope John Paul II, is a space dedicated to prosperity in the house. Create a small altar of abundance, he suggested, a place where you keep not only money, but also symbols of prosperity and gratitude. This space should be in an elevated location, such as a shelf, but easily accessible, preferably in the southeast sector of the house, which in the tradition of feng shui is associated with prosperity. Carol, a retired teacher from New York City, created this space in her home. I reserved a small shelf in the living room where I placed a beautiful box for my savings, along with crystals, a prosperous plant, and photos of happy moments in my life. Every day I look at this space with gratitude. Since I started this practice, my retirement, which before barely covered basic expenses, seems to yield much more. I also started receiving invitations for work as a consultant, which complements my income in a pleasant way. A fourth place, especially recommended for those who want to attract prosperity in business, is a container of gold or green color placed in the northern sector of the house. The Pope explained that these colors and this direction are associated with the growth and materialization of opportunities. Fred, an architect from San Francisco, followed this guidance. I placed a golden box in the office I have at home, facing north. In it, I keep a portion of my savings intended for investments in my projects. In less than a year, the number of clients interested in my services tripled. Pope John Paul II also recommended a powerful habit, separating money by intention. When we clearly define the intention for each part of our savings, we give direction to the energy of the money, he explained. Thus, it's advisable to have small envelopes or dividers in the place where we keep money, each with a specific purpose: for emergencies, for realizing dreams, for education, for donations, etc. Always remember, the place where we keep our money should be treated with respect. It should be clean, organized, and accessed with an attitude of gratitude. Pope John Paul II emphasized that gratitude is the most powerful magnet to attract abundance in our lives. These guidelines aren't superstition, but a way to align our external environment with our internal intentions, creating an energetic space conducive to prosperity, flourishing in our lives. If this knowledge is opening your eyes to a new perspective on money and energy, share this video with your friends and family. Subscribe to the channel right now to continue receiving these powerful revelations that can transform your financial life forever. The moment has arrived to transform all this knowledge into concrete actions that can begin to change your financial life starting today. It's not enough to know the places that block prosperity. It's necessary to act to create an environment that attracts abundance into your life. Start by taking a complete inventory of where you currently keep your money at home. Write down all the locations, from the obvious, like a specific drawer, to the less evident, like an envelope inside a book. This exercise is already revealing in itself. Many people are surprised to realize how many different places they use to keep money, many of them energetically harmful. Mary, a nurse from Houston, did this exercise and was shocked. I discovered that I was keeping money in 9 different places in my house, including 5 of the places that should be avoided. No wonder my financial life seemed so chaotic. My money was subject to completely dispersive energies. After identifying all the locations, the next step is to collect all that money. Do this calmly and with gratitude. Pope John Paul II taught, that the moment of gathering your finances is sacred. It's when you reconnect with your abundance. Many people are surprised to discover that they had more money saved than they imagined. It was just scattered in various locations. Now, it's time to prepare the new home for your money. Choose one of the ideal places we discussed earlier. If it's a box or container, make sure it's clean, beautiful, and conveys a sense of value. The Pope emphasized that the container for your money should reflect the value you attribute to prosperity in your life. Robert, a college professor from Stanford, shares his experience. I chose a handcrafted wooden box made by local artisans. Before putting my money in it, I did a small ceremony of gratitude. This simple ritual completely changed my relationship with money, from tension and scarcity to gratitude and abundance. An important step is to establish the intention for your money. Pope John Paul II taught that money without intention is like a boat without a rudder. Separate your money according to different purposes. A part for immediate needs, another for emergencies, another for realizing dreams, and a part for sharing or donating. This separation brings clarity to your finances and programs the money to manifest your goals. In addition to choosing the right location, it's essential to create a habit of conscious connection with your money. The Pope suggested a simple practice. At least once a week, set aside a few minutes to connect with your savings. Count the money, thank it for it, visualize it growing and manifesting your dreams. Louise, an artist from Seattle, implemented this advice. Every Sunday night, I do my prosperity ritual. I review my savings, thank for what I received during the week, and visualize my financial goals being realized. Since I started this practice, not only has my income increased, but my anxiety about money has decreased dramatically. Another practical recommendation is to energetically purify the place where you keep your money. You can do this simply by keeping the place clean and organized, or if you prefer, using traditional methods such as incense of purifying herbs like rosemary or lavender, or sea salt in the corners of the environment. Pope John Paul II reminded us that the physical cleanliness of the environment reflects and promotes energetic cleanliness. An aspect often neglected is the energy of the bills and coins themselves. Often money passes through countless hands and absorbs different energies before reaching us. The Pope suggested a simple practice. Before storing new bills, hold them in your hands for a few moments, expressing gratitude and infusing them with your positive intention. Finally, remember that transformation doesn't happen overnight. Be patient and consistent with your new practices. As Pope John Paul II said, true prosperity is like a tree. It needs time, constant care, and appropriate conditions to flourish fully. We have reached the end of our journey through the secrets of the energy of money in your home. As you may have noticed, the place where we keep our savings is not just a practical matter, but a powerful energetic factor that can be blocking or boosting your prosperity. Pope John Paul II taught us that money is a form of energy that responds to the environment where it's placed. By applying the knowledge we shared today, you are literally transforming the energetic field that surrounds your finances, paving the way for a new reality of abundance and financial peace of mind. Think for a moment, how many opportunities may have gone unnoticed in your life because the energy of your money was blocked or contaminated by inadequate environments? How many financial worries could have been avoided if you knew these principles before? The good news is that now you know, and more importantly, you have the power to change this reality starting today. As Pope John Paul II said, knowledge without action is like a seed that was never planted. It wastes its potential to create new life. I invite you to act right now. Before this day ends, Identify at least one of the unsuitable places where you keep money and transfer it to an environment more conducive to prosperity. This simple act will already begin to change the energetic vibration of your finances. And remember, don't keep this knowledge just to yourself. Share this video with your friends and family. True prosperity is never solitary. It multiplies when shared. Perhaps this video is exactly what someone close to you needs to transform their financial life. If this content touched your heart and opened your eyes to a new perspective on money and energy, show your support with a like. Your comments are also valuable. Share your experience or ask your questions below. We are building together a community of people aware of the true nature of prosperity. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Next week, we will continue this journey with another fascinating aspect of Pope John Paul II's teachings on prosperity, the 5 daily habits that attract abundance into your life. Until then, remember the wise words of the Pope. True prosperity begins with gratitude for what we already have and faith in what is to come. Keep your money with wisdom, respect, and gratitude, and watch how the universe responds with growing abundance in your life. May peace and prosperity always be with you and your family. Until the next video.